Hey y'all, it's Aiden, back again with another video. This time, we're talking about Spider-Man Miles Morales, which has finally come to PC after a 2-year-long wait. I briefly considered getting a PS5 for this game, but ultimately, I don't think it's worth it to get it just for one singular game. But if that game had swagger, No, not worth it. This game has no swagger whatsoever. Spider-Man Miles Morales is the sequel to 2018 Spider-Man by Insomniac. This game follows Miles after he received his powers at the end of the first game, and his brief takeover as Spider-Man for a couple weeks. The game begins with a spectacular fight against the Rhino, famous from The Amazing Spider-Man 2. This fight takes place all over New York City. You go through a bunch of buildings, a bunch of streets, and you even swing through a shopping mall and you invade J. Jonah Jameson's talk show at one point. Screw him. All while Miles lies to his mom continually about shopping for milk at the milk store.
Hey, Mom! Yeah, coconut milk. Still trying to find it. Been kind of, an adventure.
That could have taken a darker turn, real quick. So after the battle with Rhino, Peter gifts Miles a brand new suit, and then he says he's going off on a work trip with MJ in Europe.
No, MJ's headed overseas for the Bugle and requested me as her photographer. Kind of a working vacation for us.
Whatever that means. So of course, this game is a Christmas game, and as it takes place right around Christmas time, which makes it a Christmas game automatically. We soon meet Miles' family as they're celebrating the holidays. This celebration, we meet Miles' friend Finn, who in true Spider-Man fashion is later revealed to be the main villain of this game, the Tinkerer.
Good reason not to end you.
Spider-Man just cannot catch a break. They shouldn't have friends in the first place. It always turns out bad. So I'm not going to spoil the story any further, but just know that it is a great one, and it's a Spider-Man story in every fashion. Let's dive into gameplay, shall we? So just like the first game, this game feels amazing to play. They mapped Spider-Man perfectly to the controller. He just feels like a perfectly natural extension of the player, which just works really well. The swinging is fun, the combat feels very fluid and fast. There's some complexity to it if you want to have that type of experience, but you really don't need to be fighting in a super complex way. You just need to have any strategy that's halfway decent and you'll be fine. The game is really fun though. So unlike the first game, this game introduces 2 new powers exclusive to Miles. His Venom Strike ability and Camouflage. Miles' Venom Strike essentially allows him to have several super moves in his arsenal. He can do a super punch, break into villains' layers by smashing the ground in like the Hulk, or even launch himself into an enemy like a speedster. I believe that the Venom really helps the gameplay to feel more varied and interesting. Some enemies are invulnerable to Venom, so you have to come up with a new strategy to beat those enemies. So Miles' Camouflage ability is pretty self-explanatory. If you were anywhere near as bad as me at the stealth sections of the first game, they're a complete breeze now with Miles' new Camouflage ability. You can turn invisible and nobody can perceive you anymore. You can even fight with this ability, at least temporarily. After a few attacks, the camouflage wears off, but it works pretty well in a pinch. And with all these gameplay features, this game really makes you feel like Spider-Man, with an added bit of black teenage swag. I mean, just look at that swagger. So this game plays essentially identically to the first game, with the addition of Miles' exclusive powers. I will note that Insomniac did a great job of making Miles feel very distinct from Peter. His swinging and combat animations really show his inexperience as Spider-Man while also adding a personal flair to it, which I believe works really well. It's kind of similar to the Into the Spider-Verse movie where Miles has a different frame rate than the rest of the Spider-Man. In this game, he has different animations, which show his inexperience, just like the different frame rate did in the movie. It just feels like Miles hasn't quite found his footing yet as Spider-Man, which really serves his character, because it's true. He's only been Spider-Man for not even a couple months. He just got his powers. I mean, Peter has had his powers for like 10 years at this point, whereas Miles, he barely has any experience. He's still in high school. He's still just a regular teenager who just got superpowers. So I want to say I've really enjoyed playing this game, and I cannot wait for Spider-Man 2. It's going to be a great experience. I just hope it comes to PC in less than 2 years this time, because I really don't want to buy a PS5. With all that said, I do have one major problem with this game, and that's that it rips off Into the Spider-Verse so much. It's the same main character, same name and everything, same powers, similar story tropes. What is Marvel doing? Come up with some originality for once. Make this game feel like its own story. What are they doing? So, in conclusion, bad game, 0 out of 10, do not buy. Do not buy. And with that, I'll catch you later. So that game had a ton of swagger, huh? Tell me in the comments below what your favorite swagger moment was. Oh, and smash that like button, why don't you? Subscribe too.